People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange.
I want to introduce the host of Strange Darkness Radio, Bobby Washington, Tony Carr, and Frankee Franks.
Welcome back for another episode of Strange Darkness Radio. This is episode 3, season 2. What is up, guys?
What's up?
Hello.
I'm feeling freaky tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. This is going to be a crazy show.
Yes, this is a crazy episode. This is an episode, if you listen to season 2, episode 2, and Tony brought up a story about David Huggins, Love and Saucers, and we are doing a full show on it. This is a guy that you're going to hear a lot about. You know, we don't want to give it away too soon, but this is not for kids. So if you have the little ones anywhere near the podcast portal, the Bluetooth speaker, this is going to be a wild ride tonight. Tony, any encouraging words to get us through this episode?
Encouraging? Let's get started. Let's get the lubricant out and get things going.
Oh, whoa.
Dang, he went already. He went deep down the rabbit hole, literally. But we go in depth about supernatural beings and humans, mating.
Getting it on.
Yes. So we cover a wide range of things in this particular episode. So you guys, let's get started. According to the book of Genesis and the book of Enoch, in the Bible, the fallen angels known as the Watchers came down to earth and had sexual relations with human women, resulting in the birth of the Nephilim. These beings were said to be giants, possessing great strength and power. The Nephilim were seen as a corruption of the human race and were wiped out by God in the Great Flood. The idea of fallen angels and their offsprings with humans has also been mentioned in other ancient texts and mythology. The debate over whether angels are aliens or natural beings has been a topic of discussion among scholars and researchers for centuries. Some argue that angels are extraterrestrial beings, while others contend that they are purely supernatural entities. Regardless of their origin, the concept of being intimate with supernatural beings has been present in human history since the dawn of civilization. From ancient mythologies to modern-day accounts of encounters with extraterrestrial beings, the idea of intimacy with otherworldly entities has persisted throughout human history. It speaks to our fascination with the unknown and our desire to explore the mysteries of the universe. So while the debate about whether angels are aliens or purely supernatural entities may continue, the idea of intimacy with these beings taps into our most primal desires and instincts. It reminds us that there are still so much we don't know about the world around us, and that our capacity for connection and intimacy knows no bounds. The idea of having sexual relations with an alien may seem bizarre or even repulsive to some, but for others, it's an alluring and fascinating concept. Why is that? For starters, humans have long been fascinated with the unknown, especially when it comes to the mysteries of outer space. The idea of encountering a being from another planet or galaxy sparks the imagination and feeds our desires of exploration and discovery. And if that encounter involves an intimate connection, well, that's even more thrilling. But there's more than just curiosity. For some, the ideas of having sex with an alien represents a departure from the mundane and ordinary. It's a way to break free from social norms, expectations, and exploring some truly unconventional sex. In a way, it's an act of rebellion, a way to reject the status quo and embrace the unknown. And then there's the idea of love. Love knows no bounds, and the thought of falling in love with an alien, despite their differences, can be a powerful and romantic concept. It's a way to explore the depths of emotion and connection in a way that transcends physical appearances and cultural norms. But ultimately, the desire to have sex with an alien comes down to one thing: the human desire for connection and intimacy. We all crave companionship and the feeling of being understood and accepted. And the idea of finding that with a being from another world is an alluring romantic concept. So welcome to Strange Darkness Radio, where we dive into an extraordinary story of David Huggins, a man who claims to have had romantic and sexual relationships with extraterrestrial beings. David Huggins grew up in rural Georgia in the 1950s, where he developed an early fascination with science fiction and the possibility of life beyond our planet. But it wasn't until the mid-20s that he experienced what he believes to be a close encounters with a female alien named Crescent. For years, Huggins kept these encounters and others like it to himself. But in 2017, he released a documentary called Love and Saucers, which chronicles his experiences and artwork inspired by these interactions with these beings. As we discuss his story, you'll hear some of Huggins' excerpts where he describes how he was taken aboard a spacecraft and shown the universe by these extraterrestrials. He claims to have fathered over hundreds of children with these extraterrestrials and developed a deep emotional connection, even falling in love with an alien named Crescent. But as you'll hear in this episode, Huggins' experiences have not been met with universal acceptance. He's been called a liar, disillusional, and even mentally ill by some. Yet he remains steadfast in his belief that what he experienced was real and wants to share his story with the world. So buckle up, sit back, and get ready to hear a story that will challenge your beliefs about life on our planet and the power of love. This is a story about Dave Huggins, Love and Saucers.
Well, when I was 17, I lost my virginity to a female extraterrestrial. That's all I can say about it.
When Huggins was 17 years old, he recalls walking along a wooded path not far from his property. After walking for a bit, he happens to come across the alien that he was destined to get freaky with.
My name is David Huggins. I'm 72 years old, and I live in Hoboken, New Jersey. My childhood was strange to a certain extent. I was seeing things, and my parents didn't. Nobody in my family seemed to see what I was seeing.
So David was raised in Georgia and claims that he had a pretty normal life until he was 8 years old. And then you can imagine things got a little strange.
My first encounter was when I was 8 years old. I was playing at the base of a tree, and I hear this voice say, "David, behind you." And I turned around, and there was this little hairy guy with large glowing eyes coming straight toward me. The next encounter, I went out to the barn to get I think it was a baseball or something like that. And I heard a noise on the other side of the barn. And I go take a look. And there is this giant insect-like being. It resembled like a praying mantis. These beings didn't seem hostile at all.
David has named this alien Crescent. His first sexual experience was painful, he describes, and this was really the beginning of his sexual relationship with this alien from the time he was 17 to this present day.
And then there was Crescent. I was walking in the woods, and I see a woman sitting under a tree. And she gets up, and she starts coming toward me. I become very aroused sexually. I couldn't get my pants down fast enough. I fall back on the ground, and I'm lying there, and she's looking at me, and I reach my climax, which was quite painful, actually. It was very intense. And then I'm looking into her eyes, and I pass out.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but I can't imagine having sex with an alien and having it be painful. He describes this alien to have a body of a woman from the neck down, but obviously, if you can imagine, the face was alien-like.
I was doing some painting, and then all at once, the wall opens up, and there is Crescent, and she's very stressed out. And she says, David, the baby's dying. And I go, baby? What baby? Your baby, but it's dying. And I said, show me my baby. At first, she wouldn't do it, and I had to yell it out 3 times, really loud. Show me my baby. She picks the baby up out of some container and holds it out in front of her. And the baby's just like dangling. And I say, no, no, no. Don't hold the baby like that. Cradle the baby in your arms. Listen, I've got to come there. No, you're not allowed. My baby's dying and I can't come there. Watch this. And I go and I pass out on my bed. The next thing I know, I'm there. The insect being comes over and he's rather upset with me. He says, what are you doing here? And I say, my baby's dying. I want my baby. And I see Crescent holding the baby. The baby is not moving. And I reach over to touch it. And just as I touch it, like static electricity jumped from my hand to the baby. And the baby moved. Maybe I was imparting some of my energy to it. And I said, wow, did you see that the baby's moving? The insect being is looking at me, and he says, come with me. And we go into another room filled with babies. And I'm looking at them, and I say, oh my God, whose babies are these? He points to me. I don't ask anyone to believe a word I say in regard to whatever this is. I was doubting myself, but I knew that the experiences were real because I've seen them when I'm awake. I mean, the little hairy guy, the insect being, the guys floating down from out of the sky, those were not dreams. You want to say they're interplanetary? Fine. They're intergalactic? Fine. Another universe? Fine. Another dimension? I don't know. I just don't know. You know, it doesn't really matter to me. I know they exist. I know they're real. And that's enough for me. I mean, if they ever tell me where they're from, I'll let you know. I miss her, but she's where she is, and I am where I am. I don't know what else to say.
You're listening to Strange Darkness Radio, coming to you worldwide, broadcasting to all corners of the planet.
Man, that's wild.
That's love.
Yeah.
That's love right there.
You say that's love?
That's love.
Yes.
Imagine having to pay child support.
Dang, intergalactic child support.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Tony, how did you come across this story?
I was listening to a podcast at work one day,
And they was talking about this guy who has sex with the alien, but he draws the paintings of his experience. And I was like, that's some weird stuff. And last week when we was talking about it, it just popped in my head. But last week when I said she comes, I didn't mean it that way. I meant it that she comes to him. She comes to him.
Oh man!
So when
He
I was
just wanted
listening
to
to it, I was
clarify.
listening to it, and I said comes. I was like, and I paused. I'm like, oh, okay, that's where that was mistaken from. So
Yeah, exactly. That's funny, but no, it added to the whole element that night. But yeah, it's a crazy story. I mean, in the sense of not a crazy story, it is crazy, but this actually happens quite often, where you have people who've been abducted, women who say their eggs have been taken, to create, hybrids. But it's a big thing. And like I was saying, in my monologue in the beginning, that this is something that's gone on, since the beginning of time, from, what you read in the Bible to, what are told, stories of abductions, be it man or women. The most ones that I've heard, the woman is taken on a slab or the man, and then their, eggs are taken, or the man's semen is taken, to possibly produce, alien hybrids, and they're tagged and so on and so forth. A lot that, goes into that.
Well, which makes a lot of sense to me to do it that way instead of, having sex with the actual alien. When he walked up on her, or she walked up on him, and you see Crescent, but she looked, her face is obviously different. Like, I would not think like, oh shit, I got a boner now, and I'm just gonna, bang this alien chick. I would run the other way. Like, what is this?
Well,
she ruined the marriage. Okay.
Dang.
She ruined his marriage. She's a home wrecker.
Yeah. No. This actually happened to him on this portion when he was 17. So this is
time.
When he told in the story, how the story goes, when he tells his wife later, because he never tells his wife. And he's having these visits, and this is gone on for, 30, 40, 50 years. He, eventually tells his wife, and then she ends up leaving him. But he's had relations with this woman and other female aliens from the age of 17 and on. So,
oh, wow.
At least he's a dedicated father.
Yes. Wait, do we know if he sees his kids?
That's what I was going to say. I don't know.
I don't think
Big
so.
Pimpin'. I think he might be.
I think that was only the one time he did.
He might be a forced galaxy deadbeat dad.
Yeah.
But
right?
beyond
He's about
his,
to get a warrant.
yeah, beyond his control.
Arrest.
Exactly. But it's really interesting. But again, he believes this wholeheartedly. He draws about it. He talks about it. He obviously, he's supposedly writing a movie and a book. Hopefully that ends up happening. But the odd part to me is the how he describes Crescent, of having an alien face with a female body.
Human-like body, he said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most people who describe any type of hybrid, or they'll just say it was an alien, little guy with a big
eyes,
head,
dark eyes.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
When he got really horny, was that
so wait,
because
so
of her?
what do you guys think? Do you think he's telling the truth? This really happens? Or
I know when he told his parents, I think he was around 8 initially when he first saw the hairy short guy that took him to the tree. He and again, it's a fascinating story. I want you guys to go check it out. He has a documentary on YouTube, totally free.
Yeah, he
to
was
watch.
on the news.
Yeah, yeah, he's on all various different programs. But and you can decide for yourself. But he believes this wholeheartedly. I mean, like, this is something that has gone on in his life for a long time. Now, could it be a psychosis? Could it be something that he wants to make happen? I know when he told his parents around 8 and 9 initially, they didn't obviously believe him, thought he was crazy or just making things up. And then I believe Crescent told him to stop, telling them. And then so he just totally stopped telling them. And he's, then the experiences escalated. But as far as the sex thing goes, Tony, I think he was saying basically he was under a spell. Like,
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, like something she did. It was like go time, for him. It was like it put him in a
like
heightened.
You gonna take this?
Yeah, it put him in a heightened state to be one, sexually aroused, and two, to want to have sex. But because again, after he took off his clothes, I believe he lied down, and then the interaction occurred, and then I think he might have passed out, then came to, or whatever. But I know he was saying that was painful through the process. And
wait, physically or emotionally?
Physically. He said it was physically.
Okay.
Emotionally, he was all for it.
Yeah, exactly. And then as time goes, he became more subservient to the situation because he didn't believe it was happening initially. He did have questions, and so he would go, like, in his apartment. He would put out flowers and everything. He would go buy flowers, prepare his room, clean it up like a regular date. He would clean up and stuff. He's gonna have his chick over tonight and all that good stuff.
Biscuit roller.
Yeah.
Netflix and chill.
Biscuit roller. And then he would go to sleep. He would have this interaction. Next day, he'd wake up, the flowers would be gone. So by that happening, he was like, okay, this is real. This is not something that I'm imagining. This is not something that's, that is a dream or dream state. Again, they never say whether or not he's ever taken any hallucinogenics or been treated for any type of, mental illness or anything. Yeah. So they never say in that regard, but yeah, it's an interesting story, but it's a story that's being told over and over by a lot of people. May not really be this way. There is situations that people have long-term interactions with aliens, and some are even sexual, from a female standpoint. But I've heard it both ways. I've heard it, the alien probing them and doing something like that, and then I've heard the male hybrid, but he looks like a regular human. But yeah. So what do you guys' take on it?
I don't know. I believe him. Yeah. Just because of how detailed he is, and watching him in an interview, I didn't get a feel of like he's crazy. Because there's people out there where you're like, whoa, wait, what are you talking about? But like, I really felt like he was genuine in being completely honest. And it's like, why would someone get on TV and say those things? Because people are going to sit there and judge him already.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I definitely believe him. I don't know about you guys.
I don't know. It's weird because, a screenwriter can write a script and tell somebody without, explaining that it's a movie and make it seem like it's actually real. And it's like hella bonkers. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It's hard to, it's really hard.
That's a long lie to keep telling.
I mean, but you
for
years,
years.
You can always believe
create
a lie,
that fascination,
and believe it. So to the point, you take a lie detector test, it's all comes out truthful because you believe it so much.
Yeah. So then, what do you think about his drawings to back? His drawings are basically describing each interaction. So it's not just random drawings. It's not drawings as far as, oh, this is what I saw. This is what they look like.
His imagination.
Yeah, exactly. They're actually depicting scenarios that played out in real time. And so he draws that. It's not something, he's not drawing just a flying saucer or alien picking a daisy. He's drawing his interactions with him. And which you guys can go to his website, David Huggins, Love and Saucers, and then see his art. But
is he still living?
I believe he is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, I believe he's like around 80 or so. But so it's hard to say. So as we dive into this particular subject, Frankee went down the rabbit hole to
No. I didn't go down the rabbit hole. Rabbit hole chose me.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yeah. So we were talking about, it's funny how the phone works. You always, when you suggest something or say something, or we're having a certain conversation, and then you start getting, like
it's on your timeline.
Ads. Yeah, exactly. Referring to what you were talking about when it was like the phone was listening. So Frankie, go ahead and describe.
Okay, so yes, so after last show, I think I was like scrolling through Facebook, and this video shows up on my timeline, and I start watching it, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to send this to the guys. Like, this is bizarre. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, definitely that's another subject that we could talk about, how my phone was probably listening, and that's why it showed up. But it was a movie, or not a movie, but it was like a documentary.
Okay, well, you know what?
Implantation.
Let's hit it with the Thundercats and go ahead and get into it. So go ahead, Frankie.
I'm sorry.
Let's, this is hard for her. This is her first.
No, this is so funny. Okay, so you can go ahead and kill it because I don't. That makes it worse. So there's this kink that's going on where people enjoy having alien eggs implanted inside them.
Yes.
So how do they do it? Well, there's Bork, Blip, and Splorch. These are the names of something called an ovipositors, and those are dildos, sex toys, that come with jelly-like eggs, and you put it in the back of the dildo, and voila.
Implant them.
And you implant them.
Yeah, let's go ahead and hear some of that audio, just so let's make this more technical and educational. Here we go.
A sex toy designed to implant eggs. A lot of people feel very turned on by the thought of being impregnated by an alien or having eggs deposited inside of them. That's what the ovipositors are designed to do.
Wow. Can you show me how the ovipositor works?
Absolutely, yeah. So we're going to demonstrate this one. This one takes medium-sized eggs. And by medium, we say the size that a chicken would lay. Yeah. They're pretty firm. The idea behind using gelatin is that if they do get lodged in you, they melt with body heat and they will eventually melt out. You pop these in, and they are very messy to get in. And you would squeeze that through, and it would pop out, presumably, inside you. Yes. And it takes a little bit of finesse to get it in there.
Jizzy alien egg goes in.
There you go.
That's all that needs to be said.
She said jizzy.
She said jizzy alien egg.
Alien egg.
I couldn't have did those sound effects better if I did them myself. But
my goodness.
Wow, that was crazy. But yeah, so again, people are into everything, and anything. And it's so funny because that's more of a alien type implementation of, some type of thing. When you go to think of aliens, you don't, as far as the little green men and all that stuff, whatever, you don't think that side of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't think about being sexual with them.
Yeah, exactly. Let alone they're implanting eggs in you. They're more or less taking your eggs and then doing whatever. That's what always heard.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing, I guess, and people love it. So I don't know. Yeah. I can see like the role playing part of it, like, oh, I'm an alien and I'm gonna impregnate you, but I don't know the whole idea about.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just weird.
It is very weird.
I mean, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say it's weird.
Well,
just because I don't.
Yeah, because you want to be judgmental and all that good stuff. People out there doing their thing. But no. It's from like I said, just from the little green man standpoint, I've never heard anything like this.
I've never heard anything like that.
This, like I said, this is more sci-fi. To me,
I didn't know what happened, and I'm sure I want to hear more about it because I'm pretty sure there's more people out there who, are probably scared to tell it.
That's true.
So if you have a story you want to tell us,
I guess. Yeah, that would be interesting. I again, I've heard about the succubus thing or whatever. The female creature that attacks men at night and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But this thing I've never heard of, for sure. But Tony, this is your dive down this rabbit hole. So what do you think about all this alien lust?
I'm not one to judge, but this is very weird to put a dildo up and then have this egg form go into you. I could really see you going to the doctor like 5 times, and the doctor's like, "What the hell is this? Like, why is it so gooey?" You have a UTI right now, and you keep coming back every other week. What's going on?
Dang.
It's just weird. I mean, I don't know what the balls or the eggs are made out of, or if it does.
It said it was like a
gelatin.
Jello.
See, I don't know. It's weird, but he says that, people get aroused by it, a lot, which I can imagine, because people do get aroused by like some weird stuff,
Yeah, no, anything that you could think of goes on in society and all kind of
stuff. It's a lot of fantasies,
Yeah, you haven't saw all the emergency X-rays that has gone through various emergency rooms, have you, bro?
You'd be surprised.
I haven't.
You'd be surprised on things and items that people find themselves
like
utilizing.
jars.
Yeah, just crazy things. So that part does not surprise me. I just never heard of the it going through the toy as far as the egg being shot into someone. That is actually, surprising. And again, as far as on that whole side of the ET realm, as far as alien or sci-fi, you want to reenact, the Fifth Element or something, I get all that. But yeah.
But going back to David as well.
Yes.
Do you think a lot of this stuff, because he said he did, so he did have a little bit of trouble, growing up with his parents.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
You think that was like a mechanism that he kind of made
disassociate
just to cope with everything that he was going through?
I think
I thought about
that's
it.
what I think really occurred. How he describes the prey mantis overseer, I should say, the one that was in charge or the one that was in control. And, and he always depicted him as exactly like a prey mantis, not as half man, half prey mantis, or a tall, slender being and all that. No. He was like, you take a prey mantis and you just make them large, and that's what the thing was. So it's definitely possible, because it had, even from his drawings or whatever, it has more like a childlike, depiction of everything. And like he never got past a certain part in his life or whatever that was, could have been locked away on.
Do we know if he has kids?
He does one. He has one kid.
He has one, because when he was talking about how she was like, the baby's hurt, and he was like, don't hold the baby like that. You have to hold it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just like, oh, that's so sweet.
I don't know.
How does he know this?
Way too open for a normal person.
Well, but see, when you have an experience that you can't explain, a lot of people love to tell it. I mean, they want,
right.
It's that, like, and again, not everybody, because some people, when it's really that in depth and deep, and you feel that you've been, taken advantage of or victimized, especially sexually and all that stuff, especially a woman, you're not going to be so apt to tell it. But a man, come on.
But do you think that
that's bragging rights?
I watched a short clip where he was on some news station, and I was thinking, I'm like, why would they bring a man on here who, if he does have a mental illness, and put him on TV to kind of mock him in a way or belittle him? So then I'm like, maybe it's the truth. Like he's being honest.
Oh no, I think he believes what he's saying. I definitely do. Now, whether or not that's still real, that remains to be seen.
Like even in the beginning, we didn't say this on the recording, but he does say that the little guy comes to his room and asks him, "Hey, David, can we use your body?" And he's so open about it. It's like, yeah, sure, why not?
Like use my body for what?
I don't think I would be like, yeah, bro, you could use my body anytime you want.
You're like, what are you using it for?
Yeah, no.
What are you doing? Am I gonna find eggs in me? Like
I wouldn't be so open to it. It's just weird how open he was from the beginning.
So, Tony, he describes having sex with this particular being, which is Crescent. What do you remember the description of how he said, it was compared to because one interviewer asked him, how does this compare to a human female? Do you remember what he says about that, because in the sense of if there's something that's so different, and because how he was saying it was painful, all these different things, whatever, it's like, okay, I'm not sure, how many times people have regular sex that's painful, like, was she extracting something from him that was more, on a cellular level or something like that, like, was everything normal? Like, did he rush to the doctor and be like, hey, check me out, bro? Like,
I need an STD panel check right now.
Exactly. Like, like, wouldn't you be like, wait a minute, it's not, I know it's not acid because my stuff would have melted off.
Ouchie.
But wouldn't you have some type of questions about that? Like, do you remember that when he was talking about that portion?
Yeah, he just
body
said
fluids.
that he he said that it was warm. So I don't know how he will remember it as being warm if he's being sedated to not, remember what he was going through. He just said it was just intense orgasm that he felt, but it was a toned down intense orgasm.
Yeah.
So does she carry the baby, like, in her tummy?
I don't know that
because he said something about like in a cup or a jar or something like that.
Yeah, the baby initially, when they thought it was deceased or whatever, she pulled it out of a cylinder, some type of cylinder. But then also when he went and saw multiple babies, because eventually he was telling her, hey, no, hold the baby like this. And then when he touched the baby, it was like a spark that came, from him, whether it was static electricity, whether it was his, some of his soul being imparted or his energy to the baby or whatever, the baby came back to life. And then so they're like, okay, the praying mantis creature was like, we have this room you need to come into. He goes into the room. He sees all these babies that are lying in something. And from what it sounds like, they weren't moving or doing anything, and they thought they were all dead. And then he went around touching each one, and then he brought them, to life.
She was popping those suckers out. She had to be giving birth like 48 hours and then went back and got pregnant again because he had like 100 babies.
So they're only pregnant for 48 hours.
No, I'm just guessing because she's over here popping out, like it's nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
every week she had a baby.
And again, this is going over, like say 30 to 40 year span. And then also he talks about having sex with a bigger entity that still was a female, face of an alien, but the body of a woman, but she was bigger.
Mm-hmm. So there's obese aliens?
I think he had sex with a couple different aliens, different species. So they was having a big old orgy.
Yeah, in the documentary, he described the bigger lady, though, because he was like, I don't know how, because of the painfulness of the Crescent herself. He was like, "Oh, this is a bigger lady, meaning this is really gonna be painful." So
alien BBW.
But he lived through it or whatever to But again, if you go to his website, you can see all the paintings. He seems, I don't know, he looks like Phil Jackson's brother, if you know the coach.
All about the Zen.
Exactly. He is a Zen guy for sure. He's a, minimalist as far as how he lives and everything else. And I don't believe he no longer sees them and comes in contact with them. But he was asked if they came and they said, let's go right now, what would you do? And he's like, I would go. I would take that magical journey.
I'm with you.
I think there was one article that he says he wishes he was up there instead of down here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could just imagine how many people just talk shit, about how weird this is.
No,
imagine how his ex-wife feels.
Yeah, that's true. Betrayed.
Well, like having an affair with an alien. Like what?
Yeah, but it goes into that whole thing. Well, no, she was here before you.
Yeah, so the ex-wife is the home record.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess he was just doing a cosmic solid for the universe because he was creating hybrids. So, so yeah, the whole thing is just.
Do you think you know anybody who's in hybrid?
Ooh, that's a whole nother story.
No, yeah, just yes or no.
No, yes, I believe so. I believe it's possible. Yeah, I believe it's possible that, a lot of people say how you know a hybrid is their blood type is O neg.
What's your blood type?
I am not O neg.
Tony?
Nah, Opaz.
I'm APOS. But because of O neg blood can be used on any individual. And it's like, that's a whole another story, whatever we can get into. But again, I don't believe that. I think blood types are blood types. And, but yeah, they do say, they can be, special people, that walk the earth. But you never know. Like I said, if you believe in the Bible, you go to biblical times. And, if, Jesus had a baby with Mary Magdalene, which they, but half people believe they were married, other half believe they weren't. That goes to the book of Enoch. And, that DNA still would be on the planet. It would, it would be his lineage that, is here. I mean, you go to everything, whether it's John the Baptist, whether it's, Noah, those, that DNA lineage is, walking the earth regardless. So, Methuselah, you ever, who Methuselah is? One of the oldest people who lived in the Bible, No. So yeah. So as far as the alien,
I need to read the Bible.
As far as the alien concept, when it comes to mating with supernatural beings, that's, like I said, that's been a thing that is from the beginning of time. But the twist that he put on it is she had a straight up face of an alien, like with the big eyes. He draws her just like an alien, like you would see the small aliens with the big head, oval head,
gray face,
almond eyes, the gray
dark
face,
eyes,
everything. Yeah. But he put hair on her, so it's not bald.
Oh yeah, he did say the hair.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember him saying the hair.
Yeah, so that would creep me out alone. I mean, regardless, I'm out. Like it's a wrap. I'm running. I'm running the other way.
Yeah, I would too. That's what I'm saying. It's weird that he was just so open to it. This fool said, "I couldn't wait to get my pants down. I had to pull it down. So I couldn't get my pants down fast enough."
He was ready.
Yeah,
he was ready.
Yeah, if you check out his artwork, and she's wearing, he's butt naked, but she keeps on her blue garb. She keeps that on the whole time, on his depictions, whatever, for his art.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I think he does have one
look
picture
at his
of her
art
without any clothes on.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. Like a woman with, big breasts
and some hips.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, so you guys tell us what you think. I mean, again,
it's definitely a strange story. I know a lot of people probably just like, nah, this is bull.
Mm-hmm.
But,
But I mean, look at the sex toys.
Huh?
Look at the sex toys. People are into that.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Maybe they're into it because it happens.
It's probably like a good, 10% of people?
No.
I've never heard of anybody being impregnated like that.
I don't think anybody will. Really
as far as, any alien abduction story.
If I was pregnant by an alien, I would not tell anybody.
Impregnated or?
No, if I was pregnant by an alien, I would not tell anybody.
See?
But there's been women that say they, they never, again, all the stories I've heard, they were impregnated, meaning they woke up, they were on a slab table, they woke up, then, they hadn't had any relations or, and then they end up getting pregnant and they're like, okay, it's from that, but then they lose the pregnancy. And then they say the aliens, come and take it and take it. So, yeah, so I don't know.
It's very fascinating.
If you've ever had this happen to you, if you ever had this experience, one, we're definitely not going to make fun of it. It's not the point of that. We're just more trying to dissect the mindset. Is it real? Is it not? Is it something, because again, with social media and how people want to be social famous, it's kind of interesting to, because he does say, he wants to like leave a legacy behind at one point. So, when we do leave this earth, a lot of people are lately, for whatever reason, trying to leave their mark,
I think
behind.
he did left his mark, but on a different planet.
Well, that's That's highly probable. If you have had the experience of David Huggins or any type of alien abduction or alien experience, sexually or otherwise, please give us a call at 916-741-3032. Again, that is the Strange Darkness Radio hotline at 916-741-3032. You can also email us at strangedarknessradio@gmail.com. We would love to hear your story and just to, see what's going on. Like maybe this is a thing. Maybe it's something that we, just haven't heard of. And, with the body, the body of a human, whether male or female, but the head of an alien. I've never heard of that.
He might say body of a goddess.
Oh, okay.
He might say that.
Okay.
Her name is Crescent.
You never know.
She sounds frisky.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to have an encounter. And again, she could still be walking the earth. Y'all better chill.
She coming for you guys.
She might pay you a visit because, again, who knows what their lifespan is. She can knock on your door, Frankee Franks.
You can knock on my door.
All right. Well, that is the show for tonight. Love and Saucers. We had to do this because, Tony killed it, the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, you're our inspiration,
the
Tony.
Last episode to
the show's for you.
Yeah, exactly. To talk about this. And then it's so funny. He found the sex toys kind of offensive. Like, man, I can't believe I would never. Oh my God, Jesus. And then he brought the whole story. That's what you worried about.
I didn't think it was going to get that deep.
Oh, we went there. We went there.
Exactly.
You can find on Etsy too if you want some.
Yes.
Oh,
they're beautiful. They're bright, tons of colors.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
They're expensive though. $60 to $90.
I'll just make my own. Okay.
Oh, there you go. Oh God, that's funny. On that note, at Strange Darkness Radio, we are out.
Peace.
Peace.
I am Buzz Aldrin, and I was the lunar module pilot on Apollo 11.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth. No single space project in this period will be more impressive to mankind or more important for the long-range exploration of space, and none will be so difficult or expensive to accomplish.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
The truth is that we've never proved one, but there are things flying around up there that we haven't fully identified yet. And keep in mind, there are basically 1 billion galaxies in an ever-expanding universe. I mean, you can't even get your mind around the sheer number of things that are out there.
People still take seriously trying to investigate and figure out what that is. There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are. We can't explain how they moved, their trajectory. They did not have an easily explainable pattern. When it comes to aliens, there's some things I just can't tell you.